We are streaming. Hey, okay. Hello, Stay Wild Child. This is episode 3, and today I am I'm really excited, and my heart has been so full just seeing all the incredible activity that Kim Glass has been having on social media. I have literally watched this woman transform over the last, I think, how long have we known each other, Kim? About 8 years?
8 years?
9 years?
Almost 9, I believe.
9, yeah. We're probably like 9, maybe even almost 10. I don't know. But a long time. I mean, almost a decade. That's a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I have just, it's just been a really honor to watch your growth and watch your transformation. And I don't know, I'm really honored to call you a friend. I'm so freaking proud of you. So Kim Glass is joining us today. I've got her book right in front of me with a few little markers in here, Unshakeable Courage. And I got to see her this summer on a TEDx talk, which was fantastic. And so, hi.
Thank you so much for having me. It's just been an incredible ride, and our friendship for so many years has been such a blessing, and I'm just thrilled to be here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. So, okay, so here's how I always like to start. So Stay Wild Child is a group to really, it's encouragement, it's empowering women. It's all about just, it's encouragement, right? And it's also about helping women remember who they are before the world told them who they were supposed to be. And a lot of times we have situations and things that come into play that, you know, really challenge us, and they can beat us down, and
Right.
we forget, and we start to conform, and we start to do what we think others want us to do. And I know that just going through your book today, it was so funny. I was like, holy smokes, I got to get that right now. I need to read this before our interview. So I poured through it last night and then today. And your story is so inspiring. And so I just want you to share just a little bit about, I know sometimes people, they see you on, you were just on a news program, you were on a TEDx talk, your book is now sold on Amazon. So a lot of times, even though you explain a lot in your book, but a lot of times people don't see like the struggle, they don't see the things that happened before this in these patterns that you've broken to kind of launch you to the next level. So why don't you take us back just a little bit, and why don't you share a little bit about your background and a little bit about the first part of this book, if you will.
Okay, so I know what it feels like to live in fear. If you've read my book or know me at a deep personal level, some of you don't, but I was born and raised into a religious cult. It didn't start out that way, but it grew into that. And because of the fear that I felt of the cult leaders, I lost my family, I lost my freedom and who I was, and I lost myself for 35 years. And to top things off, I actually married the cult leader's nephew. And so my passion and my message is to really help people face the reality of the fear that may not even be real, right? A lot of times we feel fear and we think it's real. And so we get stuck, we get fearful, and we just can't move ahead. And so my passion and my mission from my experience is to help others face the reality of the fear, release it, and live with power. I was talking just about a month ago with Ice-T in Carnegie Hall, and he said, nobody woke up today with your dream. And it's so true. And we all have a message and a purpose from our experience, and how we help other people. And so, this book title came to me in 2004. I actually had the title of Unshakable Courage in 2004. And along that journey, things happened. I went through a divorce. I had a health crisis, and things started tripping up. And so my message is, whatever it is that you want to do, you have that courage within you to do it. It's just like I met you, Nicole, almost 9 years ago. And I remember spending the last $5,000 of liquid cash to be involved in a business that actually never really got off the ground. And the owners actually ended up in prison. It was a spam. But the blessing of that came when I met you a little bit over 5 years ago during a health crisis. And so it's just another reminder that one person can truly change your life. When you're on a mission and you're out there and you're showing up in who you are, whether you're searching for questions, you're searching for connections, you're searching to find yourself again. And, I speak to groups all over, and, confidence specifically, whether you're a male or a female, but more so for women is a key holdback that we have. I just spoke with Susan Goldberg in Washington, D.C., and she was talking about when she interviewed Oprah, and they got on the conversation of confidence. And Oprah's comment was, we have a disease to please as women. And I think we can also relate to that. And so from me sharing my story, what happened to me, just a quick little story. I remember the time in the supermarket parking lot when I was in the car with a cult leader, and I was in the front seat with her and her niece, and my mom came out of the store. It was one of the last times I saw my mother when I was in that cult. And my mother, this cult leader was taunting my mother, I found out later, letting her know that I was with her and not with my mother. I was separated from my parents for about 8 years. And my mother started screaming words there on the supermarket parking lot that I can't even repeat in the media. And fast forward 15 years, I saw that same pattern being duplicated toward me and my family, and especially with my daughter. And that's when I woke up and said, enough is enough. I refuse to live in this fear any longer. And if anything is going to change, it's going to be for me to make that change.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I read that part in your book, and not only were you fearful, but your mom. I mean, what a scary place to be when they're dividing and separating, and you just, oh my gosh, Kim. I mean, yep. It's so let's move forward a little bit from that. And how did you start to wake up from that? How did you start to become aware? Was it so I know that you had a tremendous amount of fear during that time, but when did it become where you were scared to stay and you were scared to go? And how did you have the courage to make that decision to change things? And hey, P.S., I'm muting myself because we're in the middle of a kitchen remodel, and of course they're banging in the background. So I'm muting myself in all. And go ahead.
Okay. So once I had that realization that this pattern was being duplicated again, and it had been duplicated for several other generations, I started waking up and realizing, oh my goodness, I'm living where my parents were, and I have to change this outcome. So For me, I had, we have those aha moments that happen to us. I share it in the book. When 9/11 happened, I was literally sitting in the Exxon station waiting for tires to get put on my car. My car was high up in the air. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't pick up my daughter from school. And at that moment, I thought, this life is too short to be miserable, to be stuck in a pattern. And I refuse to be the person that sits back and tells those cult leaders the same thing that I had heard so many times from my mother. If anything happens to my child, I'm coming after you. And so 9/11 was awakening for me. And it's so interesting when you're tuned in to something that you're looking for your goal, your mission, your purpose, how to get out of here. Like, how am I going to be able to live out of this situation? I've known it so well. I've been so conditioned by it. But I started waking up when my freedom and my fearlessness started screaming louder than my fear. And that's when I woke up, and I purposely said, if anything's going to change, this is on me to change it. And so I started taking those baby steps. And I knew that the first thing for me to do on those baby steps was I had to get brave, and I had to muster up that bravery from inside out of me in order to make the change. And so just very quickly, here are some few steps that I took. So brave, believe in yourself. It is the very foundation that your confidence is bolstered on. Our roadmap, I started creating and following the map to take me away from that fear. Abilities. I knew I had abilities, and yet I knew that I also needed to learn new abilities to shift me away from that fear. Action. I'm an action taker through and through. If you know me, I am always taking action. And I knew that through those abilities, I could take the action. V were views. I started focusing on the goals that I wanted for myself and my family. And that became my only view and my hope from breaking free. And expectations. We all have them from everybody else, but your expectations are what you want for you and your family. And so through those steps of bravery, I knew that I could leap forward from that and have more courage. But that's basically how I got started.
I'm sorry. I didn't push it all the way. So I love that. I love that you mentioned baby steps, right? It's
Right.
I mean, so creation can happen quickly, but also there's a lot of times where it takes taking the steps, right? And so
Right.
it's not always like that whole staircase is laid out in front of us. You're taking action, and a lot of times there's still a lot of fear, right, that's in place during that time. But it's baby
Yes.
steps, and then things just start becoming the stairway or the road or the path. It starts showing itself in front of you, but you have to get in that consistent mode of taking those steps on a daily basis. And so, yeah, that's what I was holding up a minute ago. I actually, that brave, I had that ear noted in my book because that was definitely something that I wanted to talk to you about. I love that part. And I love the way that you've laid this book out, because it gives people a real plan, right? And it breaks things down in an easy, obtainable, understandable way for you to begin to step forward and step out of fear and step forward. I want to go back just a moment because, we did, we met in a business that it took advantage of a lot of women. The business did, and
Right.
it could have been that we never took a chance on ourselves again, you know? And we could have just said, you know what, that's it. I failed and nobody's ever going to believe me again. And who am I to think that I can go into business for myself? And there's a lot of self-defeating thoughts that happen when something like you and I experienced. There's a lot of self-defeating thoughts that could continue to run in your head over and over and over again. And you decided to join me in a second business. And, you know, I don't even, at that point when you decided to join me, so we're both in a direct sales business together, and that's not what really any of these StayWildChilds are about. But we both decided that we loved the product, and I watched that product. Kim wasn't feeling great at the time that her and I met. And it's kind of cool. My name is in her book, which I kind of enjoyed reading. I think I'm on page 86. But I love, but that's when I started watching you put good things in your body, right? You started taking care of yourself and you started feeling better. And I know that had a lot to do with, you know, your courage and with your mental clarity, and you felt good. And so therefore you started to put yourself out there a little bit more. But I'd like to talk just a little bit about, you were working for someone at the time that you started your direct sales business. And I want you to talk just a little bit about how you built your business, because you weren't making excuses. And that's what I loved about it. You were doing the work and you were taking the steps, and you had no idea what was going to transform from it, but you knew you felt good, right?
Right.
And so talk just a little bit about that piece, that time.
Yeah, so Nicole had reached out to me to have lunch with her. We had not seen each other maybe in about 3 years or so. And I will tell you, everything that I had been through in that cult, I had built, coming out of that, a lot of mental muscle. Like, I knew the emotions, I knew the behaviors, I knew the habits, I knew what to expect. I knew it was coming every 6 months at me. And over time, that pattern, I kind of had that really down, and I knew the expectation and that sort of thing. But when my health tripped up, I got scared in a totally different way that I had never experienced before. And so Nicole had reached out to me to have lunch. And the ironic thing about that is 48 hours before she reached out to me, I was in Galveston Bay. I was on a canoe ride with some friends. And I remember, just like, I wasn't saying it loud, but I was so intentional. I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. And there is an answer somewhere for my health. I don't know where it is. I don't know how it's coming, but I'm going to trust the process, that whatever I need that can help me feel better, I'm just believing that it's showing up. I honestly had no idea. Nicole's mind, I didn't even know what Nicole was doing. 48 hours later, she reached out to me. We met up for lunch, just catching up casually about, hey girl, what's going on with you? What are you doing? And I was doing some sales and marketing for a lady that I had known for several years. And I loved the whole sales and marketing, being out there and everything, but I felt so physically stuck and I felt terrible. And as Nicole was speaking, I saw, she started sharing about this product. And so I was like, what is that? Again, Nicole didn't know anything about what I was going through, but I started sharing with her about, I'm just really feeling like I feel physically stuck. My thyroid is tripping up. I'm not sleeping at night. I'm hitting the alarm until it no longer goes off, and I'm just really in a funk. I wonder if that could help me feel better. And so I trusted Nicole. I knew Nicole. As we talked about, we had been in another business before, but I never attached that failure to Nicole. And I think sometimes that's where we as women, we have a really hard time of separating that emotion and a failure with someone. And yet it is, to me, I've just seen it over and over again, the power of connection, and we all will win together as we lift up each other. And so I supported Nicole in her business. I mean, I was totally ignorance on fire. However, I knew after just a couple of days, my life switch physically came back on, and I knew that I had a hold of something that could help my friends feel better. So what happened is I've always been a networker. I go to networking events. I speak to people. I love to find out what someone else is doing, how I can support them. And when I got a hold of that product, I made a decision, and this all goes back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier. Once you make a decision, things just, I can't explain it. I just know it, and I've experienced it so much. It's like the water parts and things start opening up. And so every day on my lunch hour, I drove to the local Chick-fil-A. Finances were very tight at that time. Most people don't know I was living on $10 a week groceries at the local Dollar General. I knew that I could buy a loaf of bread, a pack of ham, cheese, and Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper was my power through the day, I thought, until I got a hold of this product. And so I intentionally started reaching out to friends. I saw friends on Facebook that were not feeling good. I saw friends that were going to networking events. And so I felt so good. I wanted to be back around with people. And so I would say for about 6 months, I did that every single day, Monday through Friday. And I also learned in that process that if you ordered food or something in the line at Chick-fil-A, about the second day, you could get a free sandwich. And so I literally lived on Chick-fil-A salads, and then on the second or third day that I could have that sandwich. And that is how I built a business. And in less than a year from that happening, I walked away from that client, started sharing this product just to help people feel better. And in less than 3 years, we built a 7-figure entrepreneur business. I can't explain it. I just know that the baby steps and my ignorance on fire that came from inside of me was something that I couldn't let go of. And I know that what I'm achieving today for myself and my mission and my purpose is fueled by that lunch meeting that I had with Nicole. And I tell you so often how much I appreciate you, but I think words don't really give it justice.
You make my heart happy. You could have had a lot of reasons why your life wouldn't have worked out, right? You have a lot of excuses that you could have carried with you and continued to replay in your head over and over and over again. But you decided it was time to break up with generational patterns, generational curses, and you did a lot of that healing and that self-work, and got rid of a lot of that old self-talk, and you took a chance on yourself. And those are all the things that I love about you. And as far as like making people feel special, your heart is so golden and so big at that. I'm wrapped up right now in my unicorn blanket hoodie that Kim sent me for my birthday. So yeah, you just have a really unique way of of connection. And I love that it has led you to the place that you're in today, because I know that that path, those, right, you've opened it. And so those floodgates, right, they're opening, and like you're just moving forward.
Right.
And yeah, you know, it's so cool that you were in a canoe, right, when you had your epiphany. Now we're using the water analogy as well, right? You're jumping in
Exactly.
that river and it's flowing, sister. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. This is another part that I thumbnailed in the book. It's on page, I can't even see what page it is, but it's the 7 Promises of Courage. Do you want to talk just a little bit about that?
Sure. So, Unshakable Courage, that has been, like I mentioned when we started, that has really been my mission and my purpose, that it doesn't matter what you've gone through, our stories may be a little bit different, and how we can get started and have that aha moment that pushes us to the baby steps. And then from that, where's the next step to go? And I'm so like you, I don't have to have it all figured out. Matter of fact, I think I actually move without having it figured out, because I don't want to, when my health tripped up, I got in my head. And so I think it's important, especially for us women, that if we just keep moving, and we get stuck when we get in our head. I know that's how it is for me. And so the 7 Promises of Courage is the roadmap that I developed along my journey. It's worked in my personal life. It's also worked in my business. And so the 7 Promises of Courage, you take each of the letters of the word courage. And so the first promise of courage is the C, and it's confidence. It's the very foundation that you can get started. If you're not believing in yourself, or you have doubt about yourself, you're not going to be as confident. And so I realized that for myself. Like, I was listening to what everyone else's opinion was of me, and like I was thinking, these people must know me better than I know myself. And years later I was like, wow, what a wake-up call. Like, what a crazy and ridiculous way to give away your power to someone that will use you and put their doubts and their fears on you for the sheer enjoyment of control and power. So to me, confidence is the very start of building that foundation. O is ownership. If anything is going to change, it's going to be for me to change it. And so how are you self-leading yourself? What responsibility are you taking for yourself? Get it. I knew in my case, I had to be in the driver's seat of my life, or this generational pattern was going to repeat with me not taking charge. And so self-leadership and ownership of your decisions, what you want for yourself, is so powerful. From that, the U is unstoppable. Once you get your confidence and you get in the driver's seat of your life, you start to become unstoppable and unmessable with. Like, within a year of that 9/11 aha moment, by the Easter of 2002, I was out of there. There is no way that I could have orchestrated all of those steps and had it all laid out. So making a decision, it puts you in a place to be unstoppable. And so I often talk to my clients about, how would it feel to be unstoppable? Have you felt unstoppable before? What was that thing, and what were you doing to feel unstoppable and get in charge of your life? And I think if we can get to that place, that's where I believe the magic happens. And then R is all about relationships. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you listening to? If you're wanting to be an XYZ, are you around those XYZ people? And, we as women, I refer to us because I know there's so many women in this group, but Are you supporting other women? Are you supporting other women without judgment, without fear, without any expectation? You know, we trip ourselves up when we do something for someone else and we expect the same. It I can't, I don't even know what to say about that other than, you know, supporting each other. It may not come from that same person. I've been blessed that, you know, it has come from the same person before, but relationships, they're critical to our success. They're critical for our mission and our vision. They're so critical for us to be surrounded with like-minded people. If you're not surrounded by like-minded people, you're going to struggle a little bit more. So relationships are just paramount to our success. And then the A is action. What action are you taking today to move you from where you are to where you want to be? Find out what actions you can take. What is one action that you can take today to be more positive, to have more confidence? If you're not a great networker and you go to networking events and you become a flower on the wall and you're in the corner, find somebody there. I guarantee you there's somebody there that's feeling the exact same thing that you are, but you may not know it because they're taking action to learn about somebody else. And then G is gratitude. You know, I remember even through everything I grew up in, I had wonderful, nurturing, and still do wonderful parents, very supportive. And we were always thankful for things that we had. You know, we prayed at every meal. We were truly blessed to have food on the table. My dad was a custom home builder. The bottom fell out in the 70s. And our family woke up every day with thankfulness. We went to bed every day with thankfulness. There was love and there was hugs. And even through a terrible situation, you know, being thankful for what you have as you're working toward what you want, I think is so important for us to remember. And we can get caught in that loop, the looping thought of, I just need another dollar. I just need a better relationship. You know, oftentimes we're listening to that looping thought and we're focused on what we don't want instead of what we do want. I have a client that was talking about relationships, and she's like, you know, I just keep getting messed up with these same people, you know, and, you know, she had all this dream of what she wanted in a relationship and that sort of thing. And I just simply ask her, those things that you're wanting in someone else, do you have them for yourself? Are you emulating within yourself what you want in someone else? And it becomes that whole thing of attachment. And so, you know, what are you looking for in relationships to help you with your confidence, help you on your mission? You know, surround yourself with those like-minded people and be thankful for the people that you've been so blessed to meet. And then E is empowered. What is empowering you? You know, we all have a calling within us. We all have, something has been placed in our heart and soul of how we help other people. And how empowered are you to make that happen? And I will tell you through my experience, it takes a lot of digging deep. It takes an awful lot. You know, people often say, oh, you're so lucky. You've just never had, you just don't know what I'm going through. You have no idea. And I'm like, honey, you don't know the layers of the onions that I have peeled back and peeled back and peeled back. And instead of working on somebody else, I have consistently worked on myself. Is it hard? Absolutely. The hardest project you'll ever work on is yourself. But I will tell you, it is all so worth it. Because when you can shift yourself from who am I to being that person that you were called in your heart and soul to do, there's nothing greater, I believe, on this earth than that.
Oh, Kim. Oh, I just love this so much. I'm so proud of you. Will you give me Ice Cube's quote one more time?
So Ice T said
Oh, Ice
nobody
T.
wakes up.
Sorry, not
Yeah.
Ice Cube. Sorry. Oh
Well,
my gosh.
we
Is
like
it
Ice Cube too.
okay?
Ice T said nobody wakes up with your dream. So if you want it, you've got to be the one to go out there and get it. You can't wait on someone. You can't be held back from someone because those opinions from other people, it's from who they are. It has absolutely nothing to do with you and who you are. And so no one woke up with your dream today. So what are you doing to chase it and to make it happen?
To make it happen. Exactly. Nobody's going to make it happen but you. And it's that confidence, right? And it's that courage, and it's that brave. It's all of it's everything that's in this book. And so I know that your book is on Amazon because I got to deliver it 2-day Prime. And is that the best place for
Thank
them to
you.
grab your book, Kim?
It is Amazon.com. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And it's Kym Glass. Kim is Kym. Kym Glass, Unshakable Courage. And I know that you have a couple of other things coming up as well. Talk just a little bit about those.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about the 7 promises of courage. I have
Yeah.
a mastermind that is coming up. If you've been referred by the StayWildChild, I have a special promo for you if you want to reach out to me on that. It's going to kick off the 2nd week in January, so we're going to let all the hustle and the bustle of the new year. But there's so much that I want to share with you and to really help people that are intentional about making 2020 their vision for themselves and get through the 7 promises of courage with support in a connected community. And then, so we have that coming up. And then I'm just announcing it here. I cannot say the dates yet because they're not confirmed, but we're going to be launching an Unshakable Courage cruise.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, so it's like I said, I can't announce the dates because they're not confirmed, but it's going to be 5 days. You're going to have fun and you're going to be able to connect with like-minded people. And then we're going to have some sessions along the way and some celebration and just a fun time of people that are on a mission to live an unshakable courage and impact others through their mission. So a lot of
Wow.
excitement going on.
You do. I am so freaking happy for you. And it's so well deserved. You've gone through a whole lot in your life, and you didn't let that fear hold you down, and you did things afraid, I'm sure, a lot of times, but you just kept taking those steps forward, and you bet on yourself, and living with intention, and just being super aware. And you're the perfect #StayWildChild. I love it, girl. Very proud of you. So I know
I
that
love being in community with you.
yeah. So I know that we'll for sure post your contact information, right, on the comments in this live. But your website is KymGlass.com. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Yep. Okay. And they can connect with you on Facebook, obviously, right? And then
Absolutely.
again, the book's on Amazon. And then I think that mastermind is going to be great for a lot of women in this group, who are either business owners, or they're trying to get a business off the ground, or they're just interested in simply making some really positive changes and impacts in their life, right?
Absolutely. And if anyone that you refer, Nicole, I'm doing a complimentary 30-minute conversation because I don't want people just to hop into that mastermind without kind of some direction on what they're looking for. So I'm doing a complimentary 30-minute consultation just to see where people are and where the gap is, so that when we kick off, we're intentional and we already know what we're kind of working toward. It may not be totally clear, but we have a little bit more guidance. And so I'm super excited, and thank you for sharing.
Absolutely, girl. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I love being partners with you in business, partners with you in life as far as friendship, and just really, really awesome watching the unfolding that's taken place. That's the coolest thing about, being in business with someone, because you get to watch this unfolding, right? This transformation happen, and you get to root them on every step of the way. So it's been an absolute joy, and I know it will continue to be so.
Yes,
All right,
and
girl.
likewise here.
Yeah. Well, I will, we'll end this episode, and I'll make sure that I get it up on YouTube, and I'll get it over to you so you can share with your fan base as well. And anybody who wants to join StayWildChild, of course, ladies, you are always welcome. At some point, I'll do the guys too. And I'm sure that guys and girls can join your mastermind. Am I correct? Is it open for men as well? Yeah, I figured it was.
It is.
So, okay, well, thank you guys so much. Appreciate y'all joining us on episode 3 of Stay Wild Child, and we'll be back again next Monday. Y'all have an awesome day.
Thank you.